Hi everyone, this is Trish from the Sitesmith, and I'm here today to show you how to promote your content via social media. Now before we start talking about that, let's talk a little bit about how to approach social media in a way that will get you customers. We want you to integrate your business with social media. Everything you do helps you increase your exposure on social media and helps you get business. However, remember that people don't join Twitter and Facebook to hear your marketing messages. That's not to say there isn't a way to talk about your business and even to sell to folks on social media, but there's a right way to do it and a wrong way. The wrong way is to blast strangers who've never expressed an interest in your product or service with marketing messages from morning till night. The wrong way is to spam people's feeds with your marketing until they unfollow you, or worse, block and report you for spam. The right way is to build relationships. The primary business of being on social media is providing value for others, not getting them to do what you want them to do. No matter what business you're in, you can share information and helpful tips that people will like and need. It's always okay to share information that people can use. It's always okay to share good information. It's okay to sell after you've provided value and when you're targeting your info to a specific person with a need. Social media is about finding those people who need your services. People want to know if you're trustworthy, if you're worth their time and money. If they see you giving out information, helping people, and generally providing value, they're going to trust you more than some spammer who's just sending out mass announcements about their product. One of the misconceptions we're going to talk about is that it's all about getting your content in front of people. First, we're going to work on crafting the content you're going to make so you can ensure that people want the content you're putting out there. When you know in advance that people want your content, you create better content. There are simple ways to do this. Remember the 60-40 rule. You're going to spend 60% of your time promoting your content and 40% of your time making content. The first thing to do is research your content. Before you start making anything, you want to make sure people will want it. Take the time to ask people what you should write about, and take the time to write about that content. Some places to find the information are Facebook's questions area, which lets you ask questions of people that you're connected with and lets them ask you questions. Yahoo Answers. Quora, which is a relatively new service that lets you ask questions of other people. Twitter's search area. And LinkedIn.com. Now we're going to quickly go through each of these services so you get an idea of what they're like and what each of them does and what they don't do. We'll start out with Facebook questions. You'll need a Facebook account to get into this. Once you've logged in, go to facebook.com/questions. If your account is enabled for questions, you'll see this, and if not, they will have a button there that will let you enable it. So let's go to questions. Now Facebook lets you ask questions both of your network as well as the public. So you can see here what some of your friends are asking, what questions they're asking, and you can ask a question. Just click on question. And you can change who you want to be able to see this. You can actually have the public see it as well. And you can go ahead and ask a question and add a poll option if you want. For example, if you have specific answers that you want people to respond to and you want to have a percentage of people answering each, then you would give them, it's a multiple choice essentially. So that is Facebook. Now we're going to look at Yahoo Answers. And Yahoo Answers, once you get in, you do have to have an account for this, but I believe you can sign up with your Facebook account as well. What you'll want to do is go ahead and start a search for a question. The way that you think about this is, in your business, what questions do people come to you with? For example, let's say you're a CPA. Well, if it's April, people are coming to you with tax questions. So let's say they come to you with tax questions. You want to get people who are asking questions about, let's say, federal income tax. So let's see how many people are asking questions about that. Well, oftentimes you're going to get Yahoo results, just articles and web pages that have information about tax. Let's go back and see if we can't narrow this down a little bit. Oh, here we go. We'll browse categories. That was actually a web search we did. And we are going to search search Yahoo Answers. Again, federal income tax. Now you'll see there's a bunch of questions here, people asking about state income tax, federal income tax, all kinds of questions. And a lot of these are older, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 1 year ago. So you're going to want to sort these by age. Let's click on newest. And you can see someone asked a question an hour ago. We've got one here from 19 hours ago, one from 22 hours ago. So what you want to do is you want to go into these questions and you want to answer the questions. Use your expertise to give people the information that they're looking for. What you then do is not only do you create more links back to your website and back to you, but you're spreading your information around and you're spreading your expertise so that you become known as an expert in your area. So that was Yahoo Answers. Now let's go to Quora. Quora is a relatively new website. It's maybe a year or so old that was designed for people to be able to ask questions. That's all it does. So what we're going to do is we're going to search Quora for the same thing. Federal income tax. Now what's nice about Quora is you can also follow topics. So you can locate topics that would be relevant to you. Things like if you're a CPA, things like income tax or taxes, accounting, that sort of thing. And then all the questions people ask that are categorized within that area will come to you, usually in the form of an email. You'll be notified about them. So you can see here that someone had a question about the federal income tax, whether it's constitutional. And it's the same approach here. You want to start answering questions. You are going to have your profile in Quora, so people will see that you have a website, that you have a business, and you'll start to build yourself up as an expertise in this area. Next, let's look at LinkedIn Answers. And again, you need to have an account on LinkedIn to access this, but as we've told you before, it's a good idea to have these anyway. So go ahead and build a profile on LinkedIn, and then you can search for questions that would be relevant to what area you are working in. So let's search in here. Oh, we're in linkedin.com. Let's look at answers. Okay, and you can ask a question or you can search answers. Let's do an advanced answers search. And again, let's look for federal income tax. Sorry about that. Federal income tax in both questions and answers. And we're going to look in all categories. And if you want, you can show only unanswered questions, but you can also show answered. So we're going to leave that unchecked. And there you go. You'll see there's a whole page worth of people asking for resources, asking us questions about taxes, wondering what the benefits and drawbacks of various tax movements are. So there's a lot of opportunities there for you to jump in, and you can see this is just page 1 of 50. So there's a lot of chances for you there to answer questions, spread your expertise, give people value, give people information. Remember, before you can start developing content, you have to find out what people are asking about. You have to know what content they want. And this is another great way to do that. And the last one is Twitter search. And this is just twitter.com/search. And it will tell you what people are tweeting about. So let's look at, again, federal income tax. And you'll see a lot of this stuff depending on how you phrase your question. You might see a lot of things like, for instance, people complaining about tax, people offering solutions for people who have to pay taxes, all that sort of thing. What might be a little bit easier, and this applies to all of the different sites that we've shown you, is that sometimes you want to phrase it as a question, and as a question that people are asking experts. So in other words, if you were someone who was looking for federal income tax information, how would you phrase it? Oh, you might say something like, do I have to pay federal income tax? Oh, we didn't find anything for that, and it was a little bit too specific. So what you'll do is you'll get in there and you'll play around with the wording. For example, here we go. Have to pay federal income tax. We've got some people talking about whether you have to, whether you don't. So you're going to want to play around with the phrasing. You'll find out what works for you as you go into the different sites, and different sites will have better results for certain keywords and certain phrases than others. There's no way to find out until you get in there and you start putting in your keywords for your business. There are 6 things your content needs. It needs to be reader focused. You want to focus on what your potential customers want to know. It doesn't help you get customers if you create content for peers in your industry as opposed to clients and customers. It needs to solve a problem. Things like how to prepare for an audit, how to create a post in WordPress. Find out what people are asking about, find out what their problems are, and answer those problems with your content. The third thing it needs is to have a step-by-step, a tricks, a tips, before you leap kind of language. That's the sort of language that gets people's attention and helps them understand your content a little bit better. Things like tricks to know before you hire a plumber. tips before you prepare your taxes. All that sort of thing will help get people's attention, and it'll help them find your content and stay attuned to your content a little bit better. The fourth thing it needs is to mirror and enhance something that someone is talking about. You don't want content that talks about things that no one cares about. You want your content to enhance the information that people are asking about, things that they're talking about, and what we just showed you on the various sites, Facebook, Quora, LinkedIn, that's how you find out what people are talking about. The fifth thing it needs is to be link-worthy. It has to be a resource that adds to the body of knowledge that's available. You don't want to repeat information that's out there. You don't want to say the same thing that people are going over and over again. So think of a way to answer the information people are looking for in a way that hasn't been done before or that's slightly different. You want it to contribute in a way that's creative and different, not just repeating what everyone else is saying. And finally, if possible, you want it to have multimedia support. You want it to have images, videos, and you want to get it out there into social media networks, places like Twitter and Facebook. You want people spreading the word about your content. Now, headlines. You need to write a killer headline. How do you do this? By writing a lot of headlines. There's a minimum of 10 that we recommend people write for every blog post that they create. Some are going to be more successful in getting clicks back to your content than others. The ones that are less successful, use them as a test on Bitly to see what gets the most clicks. Bitly is a service at bit.ly, it's the URL. And basically what it does is it lets you see which clicks people are responding to, which headlines people are responding to by clicking on the most. So use that service. It's a free service and it lets you see what your most successful headlines will be. Scheduling. We recommend that you schedule your posts and schedule your content 4 times in the first 24 hours, 10 times in the first month, and then once a month for the next 6 months. We're not saying that you need to automate this. You can just mention this every time you happen to be on Facebook or on Twitter or LinkedIn. Just remember that you're going to have to mention it 4 times the first day, 10 times the first month, and then once a month for the next 6 months. Test headlines, see what gets clicks, see what doesn't, get rid of the ones that don't, and keep the ones that do. If you do need to schedule social media posts, ping.fm is a great way to do that, and also Hootsuite. There's a few different services out there. We've used both Ping and Hootsuite and have been pretty successful with them. Now, can people help you with this? Of course. You're going to want to put together a list of about 40 solid contacts that you have. You're going to pick 10 of those for the first month, and you're going to ask them to spread the word about your content. Keep going down that list of 40 until 10 of them have spread your content. And then for the next month, rotate to the next 10 people on the list. You don't want to ask the same people every month to be talking about your content. We don't recommend automating your tweets or automating your information because it just comes off as too spammy. Some of it's fine, but for the most part, you want to communicate with people. The goal here is to listen better, not to find better and more efficient ways to listen less. And always remember that the more you listen to what information people are asking for, the better your content will be, and the more likely people are going to be to read it. Thanks for letting us be of service. If any of this is confusing to you, if you have any questions, or if you'd like to talk to us about how we can help you, feel free to email us at trish@thesitesmith.com. Have a great day.